and welcome to yet another episode of Behen Code with me, Filoni Kanani. And I'm back here with an inspiring story and an inspiring person, and she is none other than Parul Taneja. Now, if I have to introduce Parul, I had to really go and stock up her Instagram profile, and that's also how we became friends, by the way. That's a story for another time. But yeah, I've written a very nice introduction for her. It goes something like this. Parul is a very happy person, and that's true. She's the happiest person that I've ever met. An architect turned entrepreneur, she co founded Crafted with Happiness, which is loved by 2 lakh plus women. I mean, can you beat that? 2 lakh plus women. And she has a team of 25 plus people and growing. She loves dogs, ice creams, home decor, deep conversations, and books. Her bedroom, it looks like it is just out of a Pinterest board. Her siblings are 12 years older to her, which is why she has a flair of communicating with anyone very easily. And she's a dog mama who has adopted 2 indies called Arya and Sansa. So, welcome, Parul, on the show. It's so nice to have you. I am so glad you're doing this.
Thanks for that very lovely introduction, Filoni, and thank you for having me here on your show.
I know you are one of those people who agreed to doing this podcast when it was in my imagination and not on paper. So thank you for
Always
that.
Always a pleasure.
I know we were having this chat at like 3 a.m. in the morning. 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. we had that conversation, and at the end of the conversation I was like, okay, I don't have a podcast yet, I just have an idea. I don't know if I'm going to do it, if I don't know if I'm ever going to have the courage to record a video podcast, that too. And if at all I have one, she's very nice and I would want to have her on my show. So just let me ask her, worst case. There's nothing to lose,
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for saying a yes,
and
because
you hearing.
Hashtag girls are crafted. So yeah, I mean, I was like, that gave me the confidence that, okay, I have 2 people who have said a yes. So I think I'm good to go. So here we are, and we are actually recording this episode. So, I have a list of questions. And how does it feel? This is your first podcast too as well, right?
Yeah, first podcast, and I'm very excited.
Great. Okay. So Parul, again, welcome on the show. And you know what? I've noticed this. That's your Instagram bio, right? Oh, you're a very happy person, and I can vouch for that. I talk to you. I see you on Instagram. I follow you on all other handles, and I've seen this. You are genuinely a happy person, touch wood. May it remain like that always, But how did that happen? Happiness is a very difficult job, and it's a continuous journey. You have to, keep on putting work to be happy. So what are the things that you do, and why would you say that you're a happy person? What makes you happy?
Okay, very nice question to begin with. I think happiness, I read this somewhere in my teenage. I must have begun teenage. I must have been like 13 maybe. That happiness is a choice.
Right.
And it just stayed with me ever since. That happiness is always a child, always a choice. I said child because another thing that was coming in my mind was that maybe I've just been like that as a child, a very happy, fun child. And it just stayed with me that I've had my my share of lows and rough times. You know how Albus Dumbledore says in Harry Potter, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, only if you remember to switch on the light. So I've always believed in it, that happiness is a choice you make, even when life is throwing, that cliche, when life throws lemons, make a lemonade.
Right.
Cliches exist for a reason, and I truly believe in it.
Okay, that's great, Parul. So because
I think happiness is always a choice.
So you choose happiness day on day. That's a choice you make, even in the toughest of circumstances, right? So, Parul, I
Yeah.
want to start the episode with a secret. I mean, see, we all know how much of you that you share with us on social media, but we want to go beyond that and we want to dive deeper into knowing Parul. So, tell us something that no one knows about you.
Okay. Well, okay. This is not a very happy, um, not a very happy thing that I'm going to say. It's something. Yeah, it's not very happy, and I wouldn't really call it dark because that's precisely why I want to break the taboo around it. That I was first diagnosed with clinical depression at the age of 16. I lost my nanny to dementia, and then my mother hit dementia. So mental health illnesses have run in our genes in my family, and
I'm so sorry.
and not a lot of people. No, I actually want to break the taboo around it. That and people would label anybody with mental illness as pagal, like anybody with dementia would probably, in Hindi there's no other word, there's only pagal for it. But however, anybody with mental illness is not really pagal. I mean, dementia, Alzheimer's, they're not pagalpan, they're actually just diseases. Like you can have diabetes, you can have kidney failure, you can have any other disease.
Right.
So is a mental disease like dementia. So I went to therapy, and therapy really helped me. So I think I'm just digressing from what the question was, but yeah, it's something that very few people know about it. But whenever somebody asks me about mental health, I'm a big advocate for mental health and going for therapy. It really makes a difference. There are some things that only a professional can do. I mean, it's great to talk to your friends, but some things only a professional can do.
That's very true. And I can say that with confidence because I know the stigma around the conversation of mental health, especially in our country. And my own sister is a psychologist and a psychotherapist. And she also, her goal also is to, eradicate that stigma, take that stigma out of that conversation when it comes to mental health. And like you very rightly said, that anything about mental health, people are like, oh, pagal hai, oh, you're going to psychiatrist, oh, pagal hai. Now at least we are in a better space where people are talking about therapy openly. We see those conversations on Twitter and we're progressing, thankfully. But yeah, I had no idea about this. It takes a lot of courage to talk about this on a platform, like this, where a lot of people are going to watch it. So thank you for sharing this with us. Maybe
No,
this will...
I'm glad a lot of people will be watching something, and I am pretty sure that everybody watching this has at least one family member going through some mental illness which they cannot talk openly about. It's only when people talk openly about will others get the confidence to talk openly
That's
about
so
it
true.
as well.
That's so true. It's exactly that, when we share our stories, we empower others to share theirs and we grow as people, as a community.
True.
So thank you so much, Parul, for saying that, So Parul, tell me more about how were you as a child? Were you mischievous? Were you ekdam shant bachcha? How were you?
Yeah, I think I'll let you take a guess.
I think you were very, quiet, Sharif bachcha,
So if you would ask any of my teachers, I was the most mischievous girl of the class, and I've always been, right from like nursery till my architecture 5th year. I have consistently been the most mischievous girl of my class in every year. I would just I mean, in school I would, जो भी मेरे आगे बैठता था, मैं अपने पैर से उसका शू निकाल लेती थी, and then I would push the shoe to the first seat. Now you cannot tell teacher what happened. he's just very confused. This guy is very confused that where did my shoe go and what just happened. अगर टीचर को कुछ बोला तो सबसे पहले डांट उसे पिटेगी, तो ही इज वेरी कंफ्यूज्ड. एंड आगे वाले को मैं इशारा कर देती थी कि शू पहुंच गया, नाउ इट्स योर जॉब टू जस्ट keep it like evolving inside the class.
Oh,
And another thing that I remember I used to do was make motor noises like like bike noises, and I would do it with so much ease. I would just smile while doing it. I would work, and nobody would get to know who's doing this.
exactly why I couldn't guess you were the mischievous kid.
And I remember there was this boy in my class, Saurabh, who was so irritated with this noise, and he really wanted to find out who in the world does that in the class. And he could never guess it was a girl, and that to me. So he would always look at other boys and say, "मैं तेरा मुंह तोड़ दूंगा अगर तूने दोबारा किया." I'll tell you another. This is in 10th, I think, 9th or 10th, in college. Once we had a very strict dean. Our deans used to keep changing, I don't know why. And I was making these strange noises while walking in the corridor with my footwear. Chup, 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 chup. And the dean was so strict, he not just suspended me, he also suspended Anushri. Poor girl, she was suspended because, okay, I think your users don't know, Anushri is my co-founder at Crafted with Happiness. I think we would have brought her up in the conversation later, I was hoping. But yeah, Anushri got suspended as well. Why? Just because she is friends with me. I went for tuitions, and the only like complaint that used to come in the only tuition I took was in 10th. So my 10th tuition, my teacher started making me sit separately because she was like, wherever this girl goes, she studies, but the others can't study. And whenever my parents used to go to parent teacher meeting, all the report cards were fine, ठीक है, पर आपका बच्चा बहुत बोलता है और बहुत शैतानी करता है.
I can imagine. I was laughing throughout. I literally had to put the mic on mute so that you don't hear that creepy laughter in the background and people can hear your voice more than my laughter. I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that nobody knows about me, I think I should have told you when you asked me, one thing that nobody knows about me, I can mimic anyone and everyone.
Is it?
Like people I talk to, yeah. There was this girl in my class. She had a very peculiar way of talking, and she used to be like, "Hello," and I called Anushri and I said hello, and she was like, "Leenu, tu Parul ke ghar kya kar rahi hai?" So I can mimic anyone.
Wow. So, what is the funniest mimicry that you've done? Let's do a small.
It's just everyday people, not celebrities. It's just everyday people I come across.
That you know. Okay. I think after the interview, you will be mimicking me. Oh no. It's okay if you mimic. Please send me a video. I'll upload it, huh? I'd love to.
Okay.
So now I know someone's going to observe me aggressively.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that you're doing Crafted, I mean, we're definitely going to talk about that. But then what was it that made you take architecture? Like, what was this architecture? Then you had to do your internship, of course, because of that. So what made you choose architecture instead of commerce if you wanted to do business? I mean, what was the thought process when you chose your academics?
If I could go back in time, I would probably choose commerce. Not because I don't really see where is physics, chemistry and math helping me right now. And architecture I chose because it was the only field, at least, that sounded like which would have both art in form of like painting and like the art form of it, crafting, and science, technicality. So it was a mix of both, which it truly was. And it truly was. It all the design senses, or the design technicality that I have is because of architecture. All the like I started crafted, and there were so many skills that I used it crafted, which I had actually picked up from architecture. So I'm glad I did architecture. Not so glad of taking science. I think commerce would have been better because I struggle with economics now. But yeah, I took architecture because it seemed like a very good option, where it was a mix of both art, creativity, and science.
Okay. And did you always wanted to do business, or it happened by chance for you? And also tell me, what was your parents' reaction when you said, "Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do a job because I'm an architecture. I'm doing business." Tell me all about that.
Yes, to answer the first question, yes, I always wanted to go in business. Now, what business? That was always like that. I had never thought I would take crafted full time. I used to think I would probably run my own architecture firm, and I would start my own practice after some years of having industrial experience. So I always wanted to have my own company, but a fashion company, this I had never thought. And my parents' reaction when I told them, okay, I'm not pursuing architecture. I had just finished my thesis. I mean, it went great. I was preparing for my master's, and then the crafted had organically gained so much audience by then, that I decided to take it full time. And my father was like, what did I just hear? Their mind just blew off. Like, both my parents, my mother was still like, okay, do whatever you want, uh but बस मास्टर्स कर लेना, जो करना है कर ले, पर मास्टर्स के बाद कर ले. But my
Typical
father was like,
parents, they get worked up कि पढ़ाई कर लो.
yeah, so I come from a family of engineers. Everyone in my family is an engineer. My father is an engineer. Both my brothers, both my sister-in-laws are engineers. My mother was a bio teacher. So everyone is like very, very science-oriented person in my house. Now, breaking the news of starting a fashion company to them, they were like, my father used to call it Bombay Bazaar, and he used to call it Parchune ki dukaan. You know what's Parchuna? It's grocery. So he used to
Oh
call it Parchune ki
God.
dukaan. He was like, he used to be so like proud. मेरी बेटी architect है, पर वो ना झुमके बेचती है.
Oh God. I can imagine, because in India, if you come from an educated family, I think any family for that matter, your parents want that you got an education, now you do a job and you get settled in life. Because the minute you talk about business, it's like, oh my God,
And
uncertainty.
that too, a business that doesn't involve like the knowledge you've gained from architecture. I mean, it's not a architecture business that you're doing. You're selling
Right,
fashion, and my father was like, "Are you? No, this can't be real."
right. I can totally relate to it. So then tell me, how did Crafted happen?
Okay, crafted happened when I was in second year of college. Uh, can you hear me, Filoni? Yeah, okay. So crafted happened in second year of college back in 2012. Yeah. And I had just met Anushri like 8 months back. We were both misfits in that class, and we found solace in each other. Uh, and we both were very creative. We were always up to something. We would be painting furniture. We would be I don't know, make jewelry. We used to do a lot of things, and then we would gift it to our friends. We used to make body scrubs. Anushri used to make these fabulous body scrubs, and we used to gift it to our friends. And after a point, our friends started suggesting that you should sell it online. I mean, you should sell it to someone. This has potential. So
Wow.
and I have a cousin who was learning photography back then, professional photography. And as it happened, we also had photography as a semester subject for one semester. So we had a lot of products, because of our knack for creativity and DIYs, we just got all the printables ourselves. Back then Pinterest was the only software we knew. Not Pinterest, Picasa. So we made a logo on Picasa, we made some body scrubs labels, we printed them out, did a nice shoot and put them online, and decided to name the page Crafted. Now With Happiness was supposed to be a tagline, and we were very naive back then. If I had a choice, I would rename it to Crafted with a C, because of SEO. But back then we were like, Crafted with a C, no, that's too mainstream, let's do Crafted with a K. So we did Crafted with a K, and we wanted With Happiness to stay, so we put it in the page also. And then we just continued our college, and when we would get orders, we would get organic orders here and there, and we would ship it via friends and classmates. So say there's an order from West Delhi, so any classmate of mine who lives in West Delhi, I would give them the order, and I would charge the customer $50 for shipping, and I would give that $50 to this friend of mine, and I would say, jo tera auto ka kharcha lagi, isme se kar lena. So that's how we shipped orders. And so it happened by fifth year, our page had a lot of following. In 1 year, I remember we had gained 4,000 organic followers. We had obviously no advertising budget. It was just all organic. And we put up a offline event in Select City Walk Mall in Delhi. And it just did so well. It was a 4-day event, and we were sold out by the second day. That's when it hit us that okay, people are really liking this product, so it does have potential to be taken forward. And another thing that not a lot of people really know about is that I got disqualified from my GRE exam. I got disqualified because I in the break I called up a friend and I was like, "और क्या कर रहा है?" He was like, I was like, मेरा एग्जाम है, 10 मिनट का ब्रेक मिला, मुझे लगा कुछ like थोड़ा रिलैक्स कर लूं, तो मैंने तुझे कॉल कर लिया. I didn't know phone was not allowed. You cannot cheat in that exam because you don't know what questions are gonna come. And they were like, my examiners were like, did you just call somebody on the phone? I was like, yes, why? Ma'am, you're disqualified. Qualification happened in the exam in the same year. So then I was like, I am destined for this business.
Yes.
I think God didn't send me for my masters because I'm destined for this.
Oh my God, that is such a roller coaster. And you were right when you said you are a lot like Sara Blakely, because I'll tell you one more reason why you are, and you may not know about this necessarily. So Sara Blakely, when she was thinking, so Sara Blakely is the founder of Spanx, because we have, listeners tuned in and they have not watched the video that I sent to you, of course. So Sara Blakely is the one who found Spanx, the bodysuits that we wear that flatter our bodies and then we wear our dresses over Spanx. All the girls know Spanx. So when she was trying to find a brand name for Spanx, she did a lot of research and she came to realize that all the successful brand names have the sound of K in their name. So she thought of Xerox. They started with X, on purpose. So when she was going to register Spank, she thought, okay, let me put the sound of X to elevate that noise of K. And that same thing coincidentally happened with you. Instead of Crafted, you call it Krafted. You elevated the noise of K. So coincidence. That's lovely. So okay, so then how did you know that Anushri is the perfect partner for you and to do Crafted with? When did you know, or what was it that struck you, or what were the qualities?
She is anyway the perfect partner. Okay, architecture is a very group project oriented course. You don't really do individual projects. You only do an individual project at the end of the semester. And before that, all projects are group projects.
Right.
So I have done innumerable projects with her throughout 5 years of college, and we just fit in like yin and yang. I mean, all my strengths are her weaknesses, all my weaknesses are her strengths. So it just made sense to do it with her. And if I had to go back in time and choose another co-founder, I would just not think of anyone else. I would still go back and choose her because she's the best partner I could have had in my business. And even in life, she is just we fit like yin and yang.
That is perfect. Touch wood. Hope it stays that way. So now, I want to understand how many hours in a day do you get? Like, do you get 48 hours or do you get 36 and we get only 24-hour allowance? Because I see you yesterday, you were painting around 1 a.m. I was like, how does she have the time and energy with 2 dogs, one business that is loved by 2 lakh women, a house to manage, a team of 25 plus people to manage? How many hours in a day have you been granted, my darling? Please tell us. How do you manage your time?
Yeah, I think it's just my this kida. I have to do everything that I've always had to. As a child, also, I was a very jack of all trades, master of none kind of child. I mean, I was into athletics, and I continued that even in college. I've always been a sprint. I used to love crafting, so I would take part in all possible painting competitions, and I was a very active stage person. That also continued even in college. I was in the MC committee of the college, and in my school also. I mean, if there was someone, my teachers had to just pick immediately. Okay, this event is happening. We need someone to anchor the show. Okay, Pavel, go. So it's and touchwood, thanks to my mother, my studies also went pretty much good. So I've always been jack of all trades, and now that I think of it, I think it's because of my mother. I always saw her. She was a working woman who would teach, till she taught science. So she would teach till whatever, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, her school, and then she would go buy groceries. Then she would come home. She stopped taking tuitions when I was born, but from what I know, she used to take tuitions free of cost. She never charged anybody for her tuitions, and she used to take 3 or 4 batches of 40 students each, because she used to, teach underprivileged children. So it made sense. She would teach tuitions, then she would do all the chores, manage my brothers. And never complain about not having time. I have never seen my mother not, complaining about not having time. So it's just a way of life. I have seen my mother function. Then I think another very big influence in my life was my sister-in-law. She lives in US. She's really like one of the people I look up to, that I want to be like in life. Be like in life. So she has 2 daughters. She has a full-time job. If you think that I craft and I have time for all this, well, you will be amazed to see how everything in her house is DIY'd. I mean, she has time for everything, and I have never seen her complain that she doesn't have enough time. As a parent, she rocks. As a human, she rocks. So I think it's because of the women surrounded that I've privilege of being surrounded with. I've become like that too.
That's lovely. I mean, you've seen people lead by example, and that's how you exactly turned out to be like them. So coming back to Crafted, okay, let me just first compliment you. You are such a good storyteller. I couldn't stop laughing, honestly, throughout this story as well. I was just on mute and I was like, oh my God, I can imagine my dad in that same situation and having the same set of reactions. So yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Finally, moving on to the next question. Parul, I wanted to know that they say that imitation is the best form of flattery. But is it really? Because when someone copies your content, your design, how does it feel? And that too on a scale like this where you have a business. How do you manage that?
Okay, very tough question, Filoni, because I have actually struggled to find answer to that question for a long time. And sure, imitation is the best form of flattery because then you've arrived. But it doesn't. It hits you really bad when when you account your design charges, the design hours that you put in designing that, or the labor or the effort that you put in designing a particular product, and you put it for a certain price, and then you would see every Tom, Dick, and Harry on Instagram sell it. Um, when it shows on the sales card, um, it definitely hits really bad when you see that your design, some people are making money off something that you designed, that you put to life. So it definitely is a imitation is the best form of flattery when it comes to boosting your confidence up that okay, this product is successful. uh, but or and I mean, I'd like to be humble as well, but you can't deny it that Crafted has been the trendsetter in Indian accessory landscape.
Definitely.
So, that's where the copies have helped us. But then again, they've just reached so many people over and over that people don't even know who the original creators were. So and coming to how have we dealt with it, we have always tried to come up with something new, something exciting, as soon as we can. Every 3 months we will come up with an entirely different product, entirely different collection. And while others are still figuring out कि हमारा पुराना collection को कैसे manufacture करें, कैसे इसका design करें, we would come up with something else. So we're working at such a high pace that it's very difficult for others to keep up with it. So that's how we've dealt with it.
That is a great strategy, but it takes that much effort as well. So kudos to
True.
you guys. So okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next question, I wanted to ask you that with this imitation, there also, because imitation happens because somebody is liking your product, but then there are other set of people who don't. So how do you deal with the negative feedback or the nasty comments or negative comments that you get, on your socials or maybe via email?
Thankfully, Filoni, I'll be very honest here. Thankfully, that percentage is probably lesser than 1%. I mean, by God's grace, we just don't get negative comments. If at all we have gotten negative comments in the history of my business, is service related comments when orders have been say delayed or order confirmation email has not reached or whatever. And as soon as I've noticed that okay, we are getting comments on particular service that the orders are not reaching, I have directly addressed the issue. That is the issue with the logistics partner, is it with someone in the operations team? And I have addressed the issue and made sure that I've worked on the problem on the same day. But design wise, or we don't really get negative comments on our social media. And if at all we do, we know it's a spam account, it's a fake account. So those 1 or 2 comments in 6 months, it's easy to ignore them.
Right. That's great. Okay. So then one more remarkable thing about your businesses is how wonderfully and how quickly you've scaled on social media. So how did that happen? What do you think drove that scaling, or how did you manage it?
I have always believed, actually not just me, both Anushri and I, we both believed that the golden rules of social media that we came across early when we started Crafted, that content is king and audience is queen. So we've made sure that, or at least strive to have good content, good quality content, and we've made sure that it is relatable to the audience we're making it for. We're not making content that's probably like somewhere in a teenager can relate to, but when our audience set is someone in her 20s, we we've made sure that the content we make is high quality and it's made for the audience that we're aiming at. So I think, yeah, it's just been that has helped.
Wow, I'm going to remember that content is the king and audience is the queen. That's a great takeaway. So, okay, moving on to the next question. I wanted to ask you that what have been your highest points and your lowest points in your business and or in your life so far?
Okay. uh, I think my highest point in business would be launching my own clothing collection, since um, since I'm not a trained fashion designer, but coming up with my own clothing collection, and most of the designs got sold like this, touch wood. So I think that was one of the highest points. And lowest point in business, I would probably go, not in business, but lowest point in life would be probably when my mother hit dementia and I had just started Crafted. So coming into acceptance of two major realities of life, like that
Right.
I'm making a very different, very abnormal career decision, and my strength, who's my mother, might not even remember me next year. So I think that was one of the lowest points of my life.
That must have been ironic and very difficult to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay. So, moving on, I want to ask you that during such lows, like that incident, or maybe right now we have COVID, a lot of people have to, let go their workers, employees. How are you putting up with that? What keeps you motivated during these tough times? Like, what is it that keeps you going?
uh, the vision keeps me going. The vision of having Crafted as India's best fashion and lifestyle brand, and that I will not let anything put me down. I think that vision is so embedded, and that's just so in my mind that nothing can stop me.
That's true. You don't want to give up on your dreams. So, what is the best lesson, or what are the best lessons that your business has taught you?
Um, there are so many lessons my journey of doing Crafted has taught me, but one of the best lessons would be how people to people interaction is everything. How people are everything. We are dependent. I am Parul, as the co-founder of Crafted. I mean, I'm nothing without my Karigar or my social media manager or my operations manager. And this is something you will often find me saying to my team also, that we're like a car where I'm only the driver. One of you is the steering wheel, one of you is one of the wheels, like four of you are wheels, one is the engine, one is the body, one is the brake. And if any part fails, the entire car will fail. The car will not move forward. So I think that's been one of the greatest lessons, how just people, how people are so important, and kindness actually, yeah, I think kindness also, although I know entrepreneurs are aggressive and that's how they are meant to be and that's how they are perceived, but I think aggression um, is appropriate about your work and your vision, that you will not give up on the vision that you have. When it comes to people, you gotta have empathy, and just people to people relations is the best takeaway from my business.
And I think you're very right, and you live by what you're saying right now. I've witnessed this myself. The first point that I want to add to this is that I saw your campaign on keto that you did for Karigars of Crafted. I will link it, in the description, and hopefully people who are watching, and if they want to help your Karigars during these testing times, maybe they can donate whatever they possibly can. So that is
That would be great,
yeah.
Tony.
So that is
Thank you.
something that I was really surprised. I was like, wow, she's actually going the extra mile for her employees. So I've never seen anybody do that. So I was really happy and surprised. That is point one. And one more thing that I've noticed is when I ordered like these earrings, we were not friends. I really liked your collection and I ordered it. And I remember it came with a note, and it was very personalized and very nicely written. I don't really remember the text of it, but there was a note, and there's this cute bag that I still save all my
Oh, you still have
earrings in. Yeah, it's my earrings bag. Officially, all my earrings are in this bag. Like the ones I
Wow.
bought from you, not just those, but also the other ones, So I
Oh,
still
nice.
have the bag. Yeah, it's so pretty. And you know that, okay, it's going to a girl. So, it's pink. So it's so sweet. So you go the extra mile that way in terms of when it comes to people connection. So I think, yeah, I like that, what you said, that what your business has taught you, and you are, keeping at it every single day. So Parul, what do you
Exactly.
have to say to entrepreneurs like me, or, just another Parul that's starting out? What do you have to say to us?
Okay. I
Just that
wasn't
one
prepared
piece
for
of
this.
advice, like let's say you look at the Parul 5 years ago and you want to go back and tell her, hey, you know what, this is what you should be doing, or don't do this, don't bother, we're going to be okay, something like that. I don't know what it could be.
Yeah, okay. It would probably be that nothing great has come easy. Nothing great in life has ever come easy. So, if you're aiming for the sky, then you better be prepared to work for it as well. If your efforts don't match your vision, either the vision will die or you'll get bored. Something will happen, but it will not materialize. So nothing great has ever come easy.
Noted. So, okay, Parul, finally, to conclude the session, I want to ask you, what are your future plans personally and professionally with Crafted and with yourself?
Okay, with Crafted, I see Crafted as India's best fashion and accessory brand, lifestyle brand, as I would like to call it. I see Crafted as a brand that wouldn't really need any description when we talk about. I could just, we could just be talking about Crafted with a mutual understanding with the both of us, with a stranger, that the both of us already know about Crafted. So I see Crafted, that's my vision for Crafted. Um, Personally, I think it's life is too fragile to like to think of, okay, this is what I want. So personally, I'm flexible that way, wherever life takes me.
That is great. So thank you so much, Parul. This session has been so enriching and so much fun. My cheeks are hurting because I've laughed so much after so long. Because of this COVID, I think we've been all watching depressing pieces of news, and it's very upsetting. But this interview has really been, very peppy and very quirky. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for being so authentic and so candid with me. Thank you so much.
I'm it's been a privilege to be on your podcast, and I'm so glad you invited me.
Thank you so much, Parul. So that's me signing off from Behen Ko. Thank you to everyone who tuned in.
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I prayed for my downfall, and I found a way to reconcile, 'cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where some go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you can do is play the game.